Alright, so number one, again, I'm glad you're here. And even if you're unsure about confirmation, God, or the church, you're in the right place, and I want you to know that. This entire process is about discerning if you're ready to receive this sacrament. Discernment is a means of determining if you're ready to receive the sacrament right now. And the good news is that most of you are more ready for this than you might think. So what is a sacrament? A sacrament is this is a really hard word to pronounce. Efficacious sign of grace, instituted by Christ and entrusted to the church, by which divine life of grace is dispensed to us through the work of the Holy Spirit. That's a big definition, so let's break it down. But this is straight from the Catechism, which is like compilation of the beliefs, and the teachings of the Catholic Church. So put simply, a sacrament imparts grace. It's a free gift from God. And that helps us respond to his call of holiness in our life. The grace received through the sacrament is bountiful. In other words, it will affect and change us if we allow it to. And there are two types of grace. There's sanctifying grace and actual grace. Sanctifying grace is the grace that comes through the sacraments. Each sacrament bestows on us a unique grace. In other words, the grace that you received at your baptism, a grace you only received once, is specific to that sacrament. The same is true for confirmation, holy orders, matrimony. I mean, they in any sacrament that we receive, really. Even though we only receive the grace once, it will never go away, and you can always tap into it. Sanctifying grace gives us what we need to get to heaven. It causes a change in us and strengthens us to be who God created us to be, which is a saint. The sacraments of the church are for sinners. They're for people like us. They're not for sinless people. We believe the sacraments affect change, namely making sinners into saints. So, if you're a sinner in need of God's mercy, which, spoiler alert, you are, then we can't forget that we're in the right place. We can't forget that the church was instituted, it was founded by Jesus as a means for us, as sinners, to get to heaven. The God who loves us sent his Son to save us, not to condemn us. Not because we're worthy of grace, but precisely because we needed his Son. So this process is all about equipping you to be fully initiated into the church that Jesus gave us to help us get to heaven. All of you have received the first two sacraments of initiation, baptism and the Eucharist, First Communion. And now you're preparing to receive your final sacrament of initiation, which is confirmation. Like the video kind of touched on, confirmation is not a graduation. It's not an end, it's a beginning. You don't become an adult in the faith. Rather, confirmation strengthens the gifts of the Holy Spirit you've received at your baptism. And these gifts help you to share and defend that faith that has been handed down to us by the apostles. The sacraments of initiation, specifically baptism and confirmation, have always been connected in the Western Church, that's the church that we're in, due to the rise of infant baptisms and the geographic growth of the diocese. These sacraments have been temporarily separated. However, the Eastern Church, over the more eastern side of the world, if you're looking at it from our perspective, they use the words mystery for sacrament and celebrate them in a similar way, but not the exact same way. And so they kept them united. They get baptized and confirmed on the same day. So the church states that preparation for confirmation should aim to lead the Christian toward a more intimate union with Christ and more lively familiarity with the Holy Spirit, in order to be more capable of assuming the apostolic responsibilities of Christian life. Catechesis for confirmation, or teaching for confirmation, should strive to awaken a sense of belonging to the church, as well as the parish community. So to accomplish this, we've outlined, the guidelines that we have for the reception of the Sacrament of Confirmation. And those are the things that I gave to you guys in your packet. Those are things that we think will help get you to that point. Learning how to serve your community, learning how to be within your family and serve them, learning how, or picking your saint who's going to guide you through this, who's going to be like your go-to guy for the rest of your life, and picking a sponsor who will be your physical person who's guiding you through this, who's sponsoring you, and becoming that kind of, again, go-to person for your faith journey throughout your life. So that's what we're trying to do here. That's how we're trying to prepare you and help you to get in the right state to receive the sacrament. Because it's a big deal. And some places do this at different ages. Some places don't do this until, a little bit later in life. And so there's a lot that we have to prepare, like spiritually, mentally, emotionally. And so being here, being part of this, is the first step. And that's like the bare minimum of what you need to do to start getting prepared. Is to open yourself up by being here and being present with us. So the Sacrament of Confirmation prepares you to be a missionary disciple. And a missionary disciple is someone who goes out and shares the good news with the world. In your home, at your school, at your sports team, at your workplace someday. The Holy Spirit equips you with what you need to complete this mission and to make disciples of all nations, like Matthew 28:19 says we should. That's like the last verse of Matthew. And it's that important. That was like Matthew's mic drop moment, was go and make disciples of all nations. And if that seems intimidating to you, or you don't feel like you're ready, it's okay. Neither were the first apostles. They freaked out just the same. So don't worry about it. Remember, they locked themselves in a room, hiding for the fear of dying, when the Holy Spirit descended upon them, as promised in Acts. It says, Acts 1:8, but you shall receive power when the Holy Spirit has come upon you, and you shall be my witnesses. After receiving the Holy Spirit, the apostles gave their lives witnessing to Jesus, witnessing who Jesus was when he was alive, witnessing the gospel. Gospel it literally translates to good news. Good news of Jesus. That's the Gospels. That's why those are the only 4 books that have Jesus in them, because they're the good news. He is the good news. And you may not feel like you're someone who will bring others to Christ. Someone who will share the reality that although we are all unworthy, God sent his only Son to save us. But if you allow it, that bountiful grace that you receive in this sacrament give you what you need to share the good news throughout your whole life, to share the gospel. And make no mistake, guys, God has a plan for your life, 100%. A plan to get you and everyone you know to heaven. And there's someone in the world right now whose salvation hinges on you sharing that gospel with them. And the Sacrament of Confirmation will give you the grace you need to do just that. Like I said, He has a path for us all to get to heaven and to bring others with us. But it's up to us whether we follow that path, whether we follow him, his guidance, the little whispers that he puts in our heart. That is only up to you. You're the only person who can choose that for yourself. We want you to receive this sacrament because we know what its grace can do in your life and the lives of those around you. Therefore, we've set up this process to be as straightforward as possible. So I want you to be able to let us know how we can help you through this journey. And be confident in our prayers for you and your family throughout the process as well.